Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Last year on Festive Tech Calendar, I taught you how to animate the background of the Festive Tech Calendar template. This year, we're going to do something a little different. And we will be using Legos as a background in both PowerPoint as well as Microsoft Teams. This year's session is called Lego Teams for the Festive Tech Calendar 2022. Okay, here we are in PowerPoint, and what we're going to try to do here is remove the background. So the busier the background, as you can see here with my festive background, highlight the picture, go to the picture format menu at the top, and remove background. And Microsoft PowerPoint does its best to figure out what the background is versus the foreground. And you can actually just highlight areas to remove them from the picture and then switch to mark areas to keep in the upper right, and then do your best to highlight what you want included. You can do additional highlights to get those items into focus. You can see that we're doing pretty well here, just marking off areas of this snow speeder and getting them included in the photo. So we can do it that way, and then when you're finished, one more little area, I can hit keep changes, and once I have it well enough defined, I can accept those changes. And then I can also go to my clipboard with the Windows key and V, and I can take a look at all of the items that I have in my clipboard history, which include my previously in the tech calendar items. And it looks like these are photos, not actual slide elements. So if we go up to our first slide and we select a element, we can hit Control C, go back down here, hit Control V. We've got our snow, and then we can send our snow to the back in PowerPoint. And then this is what that slide will look like. We've still got a couple items it looks like that didn't get included, so we go back to highlight our photo, choose our picture format, remove background, mark areas to keep, and we just fill those in to tell it I want these items don't show the background through my snow speeder. It's very important that the snow speeder be in the foreground. And then it looks like we're having a problem with that little spot there. There we go, getting really close. That looks better. Let's see where we're at. Perfect. And then we could do things like animate the snow speeder. So we could take a slide here, duplicate the slide, and then move the snow speeder in our two slides. And then go ahead from the transitions menu, choose morph. And what morph does is takes objects, words, or elements on the screen and animates them automatically. So now we have a snow speeder that's speeding across our screen. It pauses the animation during the transition, the morph, but we've got something that looks a little creative. And on the other slides, I've got other examples of a removal of the background. So if we go to remove background, we can discard all the changes. You can see this one was sitting on a much more plain background. So when I remove the background, it does a better job of figuring out what was in the foreground versus the background. Same thing here with like a solid colored background versus something much more busy in the background, and then we can get into the details. And then once we have all of our elements that we want, we can do things like pull in photos, animate those, decide it should appear, and choose the animation items. In this case, once I click, I get my little Lego guy looking in from the side. So that's the first thing we can do with our Lego creations in PowerPoint. Now let's talk about how we could incorporate these into Microsoft Teams. Okay, here you can see that I've got our snow speeder, and I've got a solid background. Take a photo of it, and then I'm going to close the lid a little bit for the cockpit. Take another photo, close the lid a little bit more, take another photo, maybe close it a little bit more. Then I'm going to take a photo here with a delay. Let's see if I can figure this out in the photo settings. I think it's over here to the right. We do a timer, do a 5-second timer. Take a picture of my finger, lifting up the canopy, then another 5-second timer, and we'll show us putting a Luke figure into the cockpit. And then we've got our different photos here. Now what we can do with these is pull them into a PowerPoint. So as one of our paste options, we can bring in, where is it? Slides from outline. There's an option to actually pull in it's under photo, actually, pictures. We can tell it to do a photo album. And then we can come in and find the photo area and bring in the photos this way. So tell it to bring in some of our photos here. And then it creates a single beginning slide that we can get rid of. And we've got our cockpit open, cockpit closing, and then our cockpit being opened and our Luke Skywalker being put in. So however you want to do these, you can arrange them different ways. You could resize the images. So I could decide to make sure I get rid of anything that's showing like my background within my slides. We talked about removal of the background, so I could do any of these tricks to kind of get the slides in a way that I want them to. I'm using the touch just to see if that is a little more accurate, maybe, with moving around and resizing these photos. So you get the idea. We can manipulate these however we choose. Maybe have it kind of flying through space as the cockpit shuts, whatever you want to do with your slides. You could get creative, and then I can play these back as a slideshow and see if that kind of moves forward or not. And the more still you have the camera, the better the lineup would be between these. And so I have an example of this where I took a video and then from the video created several different still shots. And if I go to these and just make sure they're lined up correctly from a standpoint of my location on my slide, canvas, make sure all these are lined up correctly. We can then go ahead and play around with 4. To go to our 4th slide, this is a trick I learned. Hit the number 4, you're on slide 4. So I'm on slide 4, 5. You can see the timer at the bottom of that slide. But you can see that it looks a little more just like going through those as opposed to other. So it's not perfect, but it's close. Now we can take these 5 slides, copy, paste, maybe put them into a brand new blank presentation. Make sure we're not using any slide background. Paste. And then as we save this, we're not going to save this as a typical PowerPoint. What we're going to do is save this as a picture format. And the picture format we're going to save it as, when we export, is a animated GIF. We want to set this as an extra large. And then we can decide how long each slide is shown for and create our GIF called picture in this case. Now, how do we get this into PowerPoint, from PowerPoint to Microsoft Teams as a virtual background? Well, the first thing we need to do is go to our users folder, our admin folder, and then from the administrator folder, we can actually navigate into app data, a hidden folder. So you don't see it if you're sitting in the admin folder, there's no app data. However, if you know that it's there, you can get into the app data folder. Roaming. From roaming, we're going to go into the Microsoft folder. And then from the Microsoft folder, we're going to go to the Teams folder, backgrounds, and uploads. You can see that I have some examples of my Snowspeeder already in that folder. What we're going to do is go back to our PowerPoint location, which was C:\MCT folder. We're going to get our picture file. That's a graphic interchange format. And we're going to paste it into this folder. Now, the other thing we have to do is change the extension of the file. And I'm going to do that from the command line. Here's another trick I learned from somebody. Hold down the control key on a surface. You can use the 2-finger gesture on the trackpad to increase the size of your command prompt. So if people can't see it in a demo, I can make the app data folder come up, and then you can use the tab for autocomplete. So I now need to go into the app data roaming I can hit RO tab, backslash, we need Microsoft M tab, we need Teams T tab, we need backgrounds, and then backslash U for uploads, tab, and we're in that directory. Now dir shows me the files that are in the directory, and we can do a rename picture tab, and we need to rename it picture.png. So you're going to rename the file to a PNG extension. And then we also want to copy that and copy it to a picture_thumb.png in the same directory. Now what we can do when we're in a Teams meeting, if we join our Lego Teams meeting from earlier, when we go to our background filters and scroll all the way to the bottom, notice that I have a picture background. And my picture background will go ahead and show my background. And every 5 seconds, the background changes. So to make this less noticeable, you increase the time. You can increase it to a minute, or you can increase it much faster so that it looks like a video as opposed to a still image. That's how we bring in Lego backgrounds to Microsoft Teams. Now the next demo I'm going to do is of the Microsoft Designer preview at designer.microsoft.com. We have the ability to come in here and with AI word text to image, we can say we are looking for let's say a house on the water in the Lego background, or in the Lego style. And we can say on the water with minifigs. And let's see if this picks up what minifigs are. I have not tried this one, so we are doing a designer demo real time to see what our results are. House on the water with minifigs. Look at that. We've got some minifigs and we have the water. And we could call that a houseboat or something. So we can either go with one of the designs that Microsoft Designer suggests for us, or we could do our own thing, customizing the design, adding text. We've got a little, it looks like graphic here that can download as a PNG, a JPEG, or a PDF. Or with the movement, we can download as an MP4, a GIF, which we talked about before, or a PNG. And as part of this design, we can also add visuals, additional elements. We can add text to our slide, and we have styles that we can use in Microsoft Designer. The nice thing about this is the designer can save our image in these multiple formats, and we can decide whether we have the watermark created with designer in the lower right-hand corner. If you have the created with designer, you see that in the lower right-hand side. So this is just an animated GIF that plays over and over and over with our image. So designer is one of the ways that we could bring in these various images, and it looks like it understands Lego, and it looks like it understands minifig, And we could do several different things, including text for our demo, Lego Teams. And then with our text, we could go with team meeting at a conference table with minifigs. Let's see if minifigs without the Lego word picks up what a minifig is. It looks like it does. And there are 3 options. One with the minifigs at or on a table. And we could decide to save that design, go with one of the suggestions, and then add additional elements, whatever we want to do to this. You can see that it's doing some creativity with even the minifigs faces. So one of the other things the AI does is make sure your picture is unique, and one way it does that is it obfuscates the features on either real people or, in this case, Lego minifigures. And like before, we can do a download in a picture format, or we can convert this using some of the suggestions on the right to a little animated GIF or whatever we want to do. You'll notice December 18th, which is Sunday, is Ugly Sweater Day. So we might want to create a post for that out of Microsoft Designer. The other thing you can do besides using Designer directly is go to create.microsoft.com. And Microsoft has been working on several templates, including social media templates. And then from the social media templates, I can search through those for job posting on LinkedIn, get some suggestions on we're hiring or we're looking for interns or what you might be doing. Or you can start from scratch. So create.microsoft.com, you'll notice that some of these tell me that I can customize in Designer. They say that it's coming soon. If you're in the Designer preview, however, you can actually customize these now in Designer. You don't have to wait. So there is a wait list. There's a way off the wait list. If you reach out, the Microsoft Speaker Club has several of our contributors in the early preview for Designer. So we have people writing newsletters and posting. We're actually creating a showcase page to talk about what we've done with the Designer preview. And since we can incorporate Legos, this is a perfect example of our Lego Teams initiative that we're doing here. So we can use those as backgrounds within a Teams meeting, Lego or otherwise. And we've talked about the backgrounds, the virtual backgrounds within Teams, as well as using PowerPoint to augment or to change some of these behaviors. And then finally, we talked about Microsoft's new program that is in preview called Designer. So designer.microsoft.com. There's several ways off the wait list. Probably the easiest way off the wait list from my perspective is to go to linkedin.com/company/MSFT speakers. And that brings you to the Microsoft Speakers Club. And in the Microsoft Speakers Club, we have the invites to get you into the Microsoft Designer preview. So I could go to my photos, my downloads, bring up my Legos Teams, add that in, Lego Teams post, video post for festive tech calendar is almost here. And then I can post that to LinkedIn. Now, one of the other things you can do with LinkedIn now is I can actually go to a post for my account and I can schedule posts into the future. It's not supported for this type where I am posting a company page to my personal profile. So I would have to discard this and just do a actual post of that. But if it's a post that I start, I can now actually go to Saturday or Sunday, pick a particular time. This would be my local time zone. And then I can come up with my post. And Control V, post. And we'll do our house on the water. And that's scheduled for tomorrow now. So if you come over to my profile, which is linkedin.com/stilladre, so IN stilladre, tomorrow morning you'll find that as one of the updates on my profile. So we've looked at several different things here, including LinkedIn, create.microsoft.com, designer.microsoft.com, Teams, Legos in real life, Legos on virtual backgrounds, Legos from Designer. Finally, Lego.com has their own backgrounds link. So if you want to get the official Lego themed backgrounds, you can go here, accept all, and then there are several backgrounds for you to use in virtual meetings off of Lego's website. The nice thing about Legos and building is you can create your own builds. You can use those to create your own virtual backgrounds. You can animate those virtual backgrounds. There's all sorts of things you can do once you get into this. And one of my favorite things to do with Legos and the Microsoft application is to use a new feature called Cameo. And Cameo doesn't seem to be bringing up my camera here. Let's see if we can force it to bring up the camera preview. I can use my Surface front camera. Oh, I can't because I'm probably using it in Teams. I bet that's why it's not available right now. So let's go and see if we can preview. There we go. There's my camera preview in Microsoft Teams, in PowerPoint with Cameo. Let's see if that shows up here. Doesn't look like it's working here in this slide, so we'll save our PowerPoint. Save it locally. Call it Festivic Calendar 2022. Let's call this Final. And like anything else, we'll try turning it off and on again. No, I don't want to close because I don't want to lose my recording. Thank you, PowerPoint. For Mac, we've got zoomed in on our snow speeder. We're going to call this V2. It's saved as a PowerPoint on our Mac. We're going to export. Similar process, we're going to export as a animated GIF. We're going to make this extra large. However, this time we're going to do time spent on each slide, 3 seconds. And we're going to export this to the documents folder. Now, once we do that, under documents, we should have snowspeeder v2.gif. On a Mac, you're going to go to a different folder structure. This is going to be under the user's library, application support, Microsoft Teams, backgrounds, uploads. And so from there, we can put the file into that directory, v2, and then we're going to change the extension to PNG. We're going to tell it we want to use PNG, and then we're going to create a copy of it, and we're going to name that copy _ thumb. Now when we go over to Microsoft Teams, we go into our Lego Teams meeting, join. Same kind of thing. We're not going to use audio because we're already using audio here. Instead of the Snowspeeder V1, we're going to come down to Snowspeeder V2. Use that as our background, and every 3 seconds we should see our background change within this virtual background. Pretty cool, huh? So very similar process. Use PowerPoint, set up your animation the way you want it. And then as part of your animation process, you rename the file to a PNG, a picture format, and then you create a same file name _ thumb, and you put that into the directory under your library. And then that allows you to get to the file. So again, library for the user, application support, Microsoft Teams, backgrounds, uploads. And once you're in that directory, we have our thumbnails and our files. So, my friends, that is it for our Lego Teams meetings. We have looked at this from a standpoint of Microsoft Teams, Microsoft PowerPoint for creation. We've looked at Microsoft Designer. I'll bring that up briefly on my Mac so you can see what Designer looks like from a Mac perspective. Very similar. You just use a browser on your Mac instead of your PC. You can use Edge, you can use Chrome, you can use Safari. And if you're in the beta, again, or the preview, you get access to it. If you're not, you'll get a message that you need to add yourself to the wait list. And I hope everybody enjoys this video explaining how to use PowerPoint, Legos, and Microsoft Teams to create engaging meetings virtually. Have a great day, evening, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Thanks. Working on my PC, but it looks like it's working on my Mac just fine. We go into PowerPoint, we go into slideshow mode, and my Cameo inserted video comes up in the upper right or wherever I placed it. When I play back my animation, my video stays there, and we get this wonderful animated background and our cutout of our Lego Snowspeeder. And that's it for this session. Thanks, everyone.